Sorry about that.
It's only a matter of time before they try to take out Trump again, and from the looks of things, it looks like they may already be trying to, because there's a crazy situation that unfolded outside of the Republican National Convention just moments before I sat down to record this video. I'm still waiting on more details to come out, but you can follow me over on X or Twitter, and I will be doing play-by-play, minute-by-minute updates of all the crazy stuff that is currently going on. But it's been a couple of days now. It's been a couple of days since someone tried to take Donald Trump's life, and the shock has kind of worn off. I've gone through so many different interviews, dozens of interviews, hours of footage, listening to all of these firsthand accounts, and here we are on Tuesday. The situation happened on Saturday, and there is still rumblings of a potential of another suspect. Now, these rumblings aren't coming from law enforcement. No, there's rumors spreading, and they're not just spreading online, they're spreading throughout the groups of people who were actually at the rally on Saturday. A lot of people seem to believe that there was a second shooter. Now, I want to be clear. I have not found any evidence of that. I believe that the suspect is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I don't necessarily think that there was another suspect. Don't get me wrong. I do not believe the official narrative for 1 second. But I don't think that there was another suspect. I think that there is definitely something going on here. We may never know, but I am not so sure if this is true or not. But people who were there, they claimed that there was another suspect, and they're all talking about the water tower. I went through a bunch of different interviews over the past couple of days, and there's at least a half a dozen interviews out there with people talking about the water tower. And there's other people who were there that are talking about the water tower on social media who did not do interviews. And they all claim that there was another suspect on the water tower that I guess got taken out. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to roll a couple of quick snippets so you can hear from them instead of me, and then I'll be right back.
And then he put the fist bump up. Stay strong, and they walked him off.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought this would do what you just said. I thought it was fireworks, 4th of July. It's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it sounded like. The gentleman behind me, I was one seat. He was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across. Trump turned his head. His ear must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone?
There was a crack of the gunfire, and I just screamed, it's the sniper, and he was firing down toward the water tower.
That's what we're hearing.
And then at that same exact moment, there was a spray from the right side of the stage that I thought was some type of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Or not gas, but smoke.
Sure.
Lined up front. And he said he heard it was gunfire, hydraulic on the track. So the gunfire was coming toward the stage.
Wow.
And then a few minutes later, there was a couple more shots down the hill, and that's when they started flooding them.
Calm. And so we started trying to go after them then when they finally let us up. And they had been right by the fence where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence.
And still, obviously, initial reports. But
was there someone on the water tower? A lot of people who were at this event, they all seem to believe that there was someone on the water tower. They believe that there were 2 suspects that were taken down. Now, like I said, I still haven't seen any evidence of this. But I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh, this isn't true, because I wasn't there. And I don't want to tell people who were there what happened because I feel like they kind of would know better than us. But at the same time, trying to approach this from, a very rational, I'm trying to take a very rational approach here. I'm looking at the positioning of the water tower and the positioning of the building where Thomas Matthew Crooks was. And, you got to take in consideration all of the chaos that broke out. You're in the moment, you're in the middle of chaos. You don't really exactly know what exactly is happening. And maybe through the confusion, you think they're taking out someone on the water tower when really they're taking out someone on the building. I don't know. But I have, I've looked long and hard at the position of this water tower. And depending on where you were that day, you may think that, the snipers and the law enforcement who were aiming this way, maybe you think they're aiming at the water tower. But, as, we sit here discussing the water tower, is that not another security threat? Yet another security threat that overlooks the stage and the entire rally? Now, obviously, the water tower would be a little harder to climb than the building that Thomas Matthew climbed, the building that was filled with law enforcement that somehow watched him do all of this but didn't know that he was climbing on the metal roof that would have made a lot of noise. But we have to ignore those details to believe the official narrative, right? But as far as I know, there was no sniper teams. There was no one on the water tower. And I just feel like that could have posed a threat. That's another location, that was high risk, if you ask me. But I have seen photos of police activity down near the bottom of the water tower. They could just be parked there, as they do their investigation around the grounds for sure. But it's just, when discussing this topic and when listening to all of these different interviews, the water tower just keeps getting brought up. So whatever was in these people's mind, either they saw something or the general consensus on the ground, the general thought on the ground was that someone was on the water tower. And that's why they're out here giving all of these interviews. And in that one interview, it was kind of, I don't know, the way she kind of pulled the microphone away, like, oh, all right, never mind, we don't want you to talk about that part. You know what I'm talking about? They really shut her down when she started talking about another suspect. She was like, well, they got the guy that was over there by the fence, and then the one that was on the water tower. I mean, whoa. It's one of those situations where, listen, like I said, I still don't believe necessarily that there was another suspect. I think maybe there's just some confusion going on here. But this story has been so crazy already. It's been so crazy that you can tell me almost anything at this point, and I would at the very least think, hey, that's not out of the realm of possibilities. Because everything that happened that day, and the more details that come out about how law enforcement was watching this guy. And we now know that one of the snipers, they locked eyes. They locked eyes with Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thomas was out there in the wide open with a rangefinder. With the rangefinder looking around. And the snipers locked eyes with him. Watched him. Nothing was done. So that's right there is crazy. You know what I mean? So it's hard to top. It's kind of hard to top everything that we've heard so far. And it's only been a couple of days. And it's not like the investigation is over. These are just the initial details that have trickled out. And it's already so bad. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. Do you think someone else was involved? I want you all to keep in mind, though, as I stated multiple times in this video, I still believe that there was only one suspect, and I do believe it was Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now, I do believe that there was something going on here, and maybe he was allowed to do this. I do believe that maybe there was a possibility that this is an inside job. but I'm not so sure about the second shooter. But you let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.